Failure isn't the end of the road, it's the beginning of the path worth walking. Everyone in the town of Elridge whispered the same thing behind Mara Lynn's back. She was supposed to make it big. She had everything and then she lost it all. But what no one realized was that Mara didn't just lose once. She failed, shattered, and fell so hard that the dust didn't settle for a year. And then she got back up. Not to return as she was, but to rise as someone even she hadn't met yet. Mara Lynn was the kind of person people remembered. Top of her class. National debate winner. Started a startup at 19. Raised funding at 21. And by 23, she stood on stage at a major tech summit hailed as the future face of innovation. That was the moment before the fall. The moment before everything went wrong. Her app Pulse Mind, a mental wellness tracker, was built on passion, data, and sleepless nights. But a critical security flaw went unnoticed. It leaked thousands of private journals overnight. In less than 72 hours, the dream crumbled. Lawsuits, headlines, betrayal by a co-founder. Sponsors pulled out, investors vanished, and Mara disappeared too. Not physically, but inside. She returned home to Elridge, moved into her childhood bedroom, and stayed off social media for 9 months. To most, she was another could have been. But in her silence, something was shifting. The mirror moment. On a cold January morning, Mara sat by the window, clutching a cup of tea. Her mother placed a hand on her shoulder and whispered, "It's okay to fall, baby, but don't stay on your knees forever. You were born to stand taller than this." That night, Mara pulled out a journal she hadn't touched in a year. She wrote one sentence. "I will build again, not because I must, but because I can." Step 1. Own the fall. Failure is only shameful if you never learn from it. Mara read every legal report, every review, every mistake. It hurt, eh? But she faced it. Painfully. Honestly. She realized that her ambition had outpaced her awareness. She hadn't double-checked the back end. She trusted too easily. Rushed too blindly. She didn't blame the world. She accepted responsibility. Owning your failure gives you back the power to change your story. Step 2. Rebuild the mind. Mara began small. 10 minutes of reading every morning. Daily journaling about lessons, not regrets. Podcasts on resilience and stories of those who rose again. She devoured biographies of Walt Disney, Oprah, Elon Musk, people who failed spectacularly before they succeeded. The greats weren't great because they never fell. They were great because they didn't stay down. Step 3. Change the questions. Old Mara used to ask, "What if I fail? What will people think? What if I'm not enough?" New Mara asked, "What will I learn? What if this is the beginning? What if this time I lead with wisdom?" The questions you ask yourself will build the answers you live by. The coffee shop spark. One afternoon, Mara walked into the local coffee shop with her laptop. She hadn't coded in a year, but her fingers itched. She overheard 2 students talking. "Man, I wish there was an app that helped you track failure and lessons, not just success." Mara froze. She turned to them. "Would you actually use something like that?" The students blinked. "Absolutely. I mean, everyone talks about wins. But no one tracks how we grow from our losses." Something lit inside her. Sometimes your next idea is hidden inside someone else's pain. The rise of Emberlog. That night, Mara outlined her new idea, Emberlog, a digital journal where users could log failures, extract lessons, and share anonymous reflections with others. A tool that celebrated growth, not perfection. It was the opposite of Pulse Mind. It wasn't shiny. It was honest. She wasn't chasing funding. She was chasing meaning. And that made all the difference. Month 3, the first sign. She posted a beta version in a Reddit forum titled, "How I'm Turning My Worst Failure into a Win." Within 24 hours, 3,000 downloads, 400 thank you messages, dozens of stories like hers. One message stood out. "Thank you. I thought I was broken. But Emberlog helped me see that failure is just proof I'm still trying." Mara cried for an hour. Not because she was weak, but because impact finally mattered more than applause. Quote wall moments. She started adding quotes to the app, one every day. Some were hers, others from mentors, but they all echoed the same idea. You only fail when you stop learning. Brick walls don't stop you. They show you how bad you want it. Your mess will become someone else's map. Each quote wasn't just text. It was a torch, lighting the way through the dark. 6 months later, Mara was invited to speak at a tech panel. Same stage as before, same spotlight, but a very different woman stepped forward. Not a prodigy chasing hype, but a woman who had been burned, humbled, and rebuilt. She stood tall, looked into the crowd, and began. Hi, I'm Mara. I failed publicly, painfully, and permanently. But I'm still here. Because I learned that success doesn't mean you never fall. It means you refuse to stay buried. The audience rose before she finished. Not because she had a perfect product, but because she spoke their truth, the message she left behind. Years later, Emberlog grew into a global community. People of all ages sharing how failure shaped them, not destroyed them. A monument was built outside the Elridge Library in Mara's honor. Not a statue, just a single engraved stone bench under a tree. It read, "Fall, learn, rise, repeat." Mara Lynn, failure is the universe saying you're not done learning yet. And every time you rise, you prove it was never the end, it was the start of something braver.